Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Dandavat Pranam.
Nirvana Mataji, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
We'll begin. We have less time today. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
श्री चैतन्य भागवत की जय श्रील वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat reading. We're reading from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat's Antya Khanda, and we're reading about the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. So we saw that Nityananda Prabhu is now in Navadvip, and he is, so Nityananda Prabhu is on a mission. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent Nityananda Prabhu to give mercy, to give love of Godhead, Krishna Prema to everyone. So now Nityananda Prabhu is in Navadvip. So we saw that Nityananda Prabhu is staying in the house of Hiranya Pandit, and the point here is Nityananda Prabhu's mercy goes to those people who were able to uh, stay away from the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu was in Navadip, he gave mercy to everyone. Still, there were the lowest of the low, like the rogues and thugs and offenders, blasphemers. They would not come to Krishna consciousness. So those lowly people, Nityananda Prabhu has come and reclaim all those people. That is Nityananda Prabhu's mercy. His mercy goes to the most fallen people. So to give an example of that, we see when Nityananda Prabhu was staying in a devotee called Hiranya Pandit's house, one so-called Brahmana, he was born in a Brahmana family, but he's actually a rogue, a thug, a leader of a band of dacoits. They saw all the ornaments because Nityananda Prabhu dressed like an avadut. He would dress in nice silk clothes and pearl necklaces and gold bracelets with precious stones, finger rings on every finger, ankle bells, earrings. Very, very opulently he would dress. So they thought we are going to steal all his jewelry. So first he stayed with Nityananda Prabhu for some days to get some, to know, what are his, where he stays and what, to get closer to him, to find out which is the best time and place to attack and take to steal. So then they decided that they're going to steal on one night, one dark night they will come. And this devotee's house was way in the outskirts, far away. So they came one night. What happened the first time when they came? Do you remember? The first time when they came? Don't remember. Okay. So when all the thieves, yes, go ahead, Mataji. You're saying?
Was it the time when they were just waiting for everyone to get sleep and then they
Yes.
themselves
Fell
got in
asleep.
deep sleep?
Correct, correct. That's what happened the first time. So they all fell asleep. It was night. Obviously, thieves go in the night. So they went late in the night and they saw there was a party in the house. Nityananda Prabhu is eating and everyone is in ecstasy, roaring and laughing and falling. So he had sent a spy. So the spy came back and said, nobody's going to sleep tonight. There's no signs of them sleeping. So he said, no, no, they will sleep, we'll wait for them. But while waiting, they themselves slept. Actually, by Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, Nidra Devi had come and covered them. So that happened the first time. And then the next day morning, they woke up and they went home and they decided, oh, we didn't worship goddess Durga. She's, so we need to first get her blessings. That's why actually, it is by her mercy that we were saved. We were not caught because they went with all their swords and everything. All right. Then they said the next time again, now they nicely worshipped goddess Durga and then they went with all their weapons. The second time, what happened when they went?
Heavy armed men guarding the house.
Yes, Prabhuji. So there were gigantic guards, and they all had Kantimala Tilak, and they were all chanting Hari, Hari, Hari. They were chanting the names of Lord Hari. They thought, who is this? Who are these people? This Avadut is very strange. And then they decided, no, some great, like a politician or some big wealthy person must have come. These people must be his guards. And then they were thinking, first they thought maybe Nityananda Prabhu got hint that we are going to steal. So he arranged for these guards to protect himself. Then they said, no, 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 it's not like that. Actually, someone must be visiting because this Nityananda Prabhu is pretty prominent. People from, all type from far off places, they also come. Important people come to see him. So some big person must have come. These must be the guards. You know what? Let's leave him alone for some time, for some 10 days. Let's just let him be and then we will come back. Meanwhile, these people will go away, the guards also will go away. There's no way we are going to go and attack while the guards are here. One guard is sufficient to just put down 300 of us, right? Powerful men with weapons and all. We won't be able to handle. So then they went back. And then finally, they chose one dark night, really Amavasya night. And it was very scary night, actually. And it was stormy. Nobody was seen outside. And then they went that night with all their weapons, upraised weapons. And then this time, while they were going, all of a sudden, they just went, one person became blind, another person, actually all of them became blind, everyone became blind. Can you imagine in that night, dead of the night, when uh, it is stormy, it is very scary, and they go blind? They were so bewildered, so fear took over them, confusion, not knowing where to go, what to do. And in that situation, somebody fell in a pit of thorns, someone else in a ditch, and where mosquitoes and leeches were biting, and meanwhile they were all blind. So at that time, Lord Indra was also angry that you are trying to steal from the Lord, from Nityananda Prabhu. So they were in severe pain already, being bitten by mosquitoes and scorpions and leeches and, you know, um, thorns, you know, and somebody fell down and broke his bones in the ditch. Severe pain, and then it starts pouring rain, and it is so freezing cold. It was just, they would have rather preferred death than that situation. So let's see what happened after that. It's already 4:15. It's okay. I'll just read one page. So just the last line. Now blind, the thieves had no power to see. Attacked by the freezing rain, they were on the verge of death. aware that these people were enemies of Lord Nityananda, the demigod Indra became angry and tortured them very badly. And after some moments, the Brahmana, who was the commander of that little army of thieves, suddenly became fortunate. Now he understood. So that is why, so it is also important when we are offensive, when we commit offenses, it is important that we have to go through pain. It is important. What happens is when you go through some suffering and some pain, the severity, the intensity of the offenses is reduced. It's not that the offense is removed, but because of that severe pain, now your heart becomes softer, and the intensity of that offense is reduced. At that time, you are able to take to the holy name of the Lord. But when you commit offenses, your heart is becoming harder and harder. There is no, you cannot even take the holy name. The holy name is the only one that's going to deliver us. But when we commit offenses, the heart becomes very hard. That is why even after coming in the association of devotees, being in the, hearing Bhagavatam, still a person has no taste for Krishna consciousness. The only reason for that is offenses that are there, offenses that were committed, which have made the heart so hard. So that means the offenses are really strong. So what should that person do? You should just chant anyway, because that's the only way. But as an extra help, if he actually goes through pain and suffering, that reduces the severity of the offense. And at that time, when you chant the holy name, uh, that is actually, uh, you're moving forward, right? It mitigates the offense, and now you can chant with feeling. You have to chant with feeling, right? For the offenses to go. So getting the point is, when you get difficulties, it is good, right? Because of that suffering, you become sober, and then you're able to call out feelingly. This is said in Bhakti Sandarbha. Yeah, and possibly even in Madhurya Kadambini. I'm not exactly able to recollect, but it is discussed in, actually, either Madhurya Kadambini or Bhakti Sandarbha, one of the two. It is discussed. I'm just telling from memory, past memory. So here, of course, it's not that this Brahmana is a devotee, but it's good to go through suffering, right? So what happened? This Brahmana, of course, it's certainly mercy, that even it's not that anyone who suffers takes to Krishna consciousness. It's not necessary. Only those who are pious, when they are suffering, they call out to God. Not everyone calls out to God. So even if you're able to call out to God in difficulty, that means you have pious credits. And in this case, direct mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. So what happened when this thief, he is in difficulty, he is on the verge of death, all of a sudden, right, in that condition, the leader of the thieves, he suddenly became fortunate. Now he understood in his heart that Brahmana thought Nityananda is not a human being. In truth, he must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He got this realization in his heart. He's not any human being. He must be the Supreme Lord himself. How can anyone say he is a human being? How is it possible? How can anyone call Nityananda Prabhu a human being? One day he bewildered us and made us all fall asleep. Still, because of his powerful Maya, I did not understand. Another day he showed us many very wonderful guards. Still, I did not understand. I am a great sinner. Everything I do is bad. In my heart, I wanted to rob the Supreme Lord of his wealth. Who has the power to throw me into all these calamities, right? Who has the power to throw me into all these calamities? Lord Nityananda is my only shelter. I have no other shelter. Thinking in this way, the Brahmana meditated on Lord Nityananda's feet. Mhm. See, in that condition, it's not that the other conditions had subsided. He's still, the freezing rain is there, and he's bitten by these scorpions, and he's in great pain. But in that condition, he was able to call out to Nityananda Prabhu, right? He's saying, thinking in this way, the Brahmana meditated on Lord Nityananda's feet. With great love, he took shelter of them and surrendered himself to them, right? Now, it's like surrender means what? Whatever you do to me, I'm yours, right? When the Brahmana meditated on Lord Nityananda's feet, the calamity suddenly stopped. At that moment, the Brahmana became free of many millions of his past offenses. My dear devotees, offenses are very, very severe. Sins are not as bad. To remove the sins, unlimited number of sins that a person may have committed in the past, all the sins that he is committing now, and all the sins which he will be committing in future, they are all removed by once chanting the holy name of the Lord. Once you take the name of the Lord without any offenses, then all the sins of past, present, and future. That means if you chant the holy name, your sins are removed. And even if you continue doing sins in future, those sins will not give any reaction. But if one commits an offense, that is very severe. It doesn't go away easily. Why? Why are offenses more powerful than sins? Do you know? Why are offenses more powerful than sins? Because offenses are done on the level of the soul, whereas sins are done on the level of the body. Sins are directed towards the body, or they are done on the platform of the body, but offenses are done on the platform of the soul. Who is the soul? The soul is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. In fact, he is a servant of the Supreme Lord, not just a part and parcel. He's a servant of the Supreme Lord. So, when an offense is done directly to the Lord or to a servant of the Lord, that offense is very severe. That is an offense, and it is very severe. And especially in that also, the holy name is the offense which delivers us from all types of sins and all types of offenses. Holy name delivers us from the offenses done to the deity, to the dham. But if you commit offenses to the holy name only, then that is the most severe one, which is very difficult to overcome. Prabhuji, Narsimha Praladesha Prabhu.
Mataji, can you give an example? Because that will simplify our understanding. Offense and sin.
I'll give you an example of Ajamil. Ajamil killed, he plundered so many people, possibly even killed people, and he was with a prostitute, gambling, he would cheat people. All these were sins. And he, sent out his parents, his wife from home. He brought a prostitute at home. So he was a very, very sinful man. But when he had his last child, by the inspiration, somehow, he named his child Narayana. So he, at the time of Namakarana, when the child is born, the father has to call the name of the child. That's called Namakarana. So he said Narayana. Once he chanted Narayana. But Ajamil had no offenses. See, offenses is not just after coming to Krishna consciousness. Offenses are also done before coming to Krishna consciousness. Those offenses make your heart so hard that even after coming in touch with devotees, you're not able to take to Krishna consciousness. That's the thing. But if you have never committed any offenses, but you're only doing sins, so these are sins, meat eating, intoxication, and those are, of course, forbidden activities. Yes, they are sinful activities. So killing someone, and illicit sex, all these are sins. So there's a list of sins given in the 5th canto. When you do this sin, then you go to this type of hell. The result of sins is you go to hell, you get punishment. But by once chanting Narayana at the time of Namkarana, it's not that after Namkarana Ajamil didn't do sinful activities. He continued with his sinful life. But once chanting the name of Narayan at the time of Namkarana of his son, he became free from all those sins. How do you know? Because he didn't have any sins, therefore, at the time of death, he was able to call out to Lord Narayan sincerely because he had no sins. Yesham tvantagatam papam, one whose sins are removed. Jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante man dridhavrata. He was able to call out with determination, sincerely from his heart. And because of that feelingly calling Lord Narayana, immediately the Vishnu Dutas had come. So this is the effect of holy name on a person who committed so many sins, but still he is delivered. But offenses are especially the 10 Nam Aparadas. Because even if you do other aparadas, deity, while worshipping deity, there are Seva Aparad, there is Dham Aparad, then those offenses are nullified when you chant the holy name of the Lord properly. But if you commit offenses, the 10 offenses that we recite every morning, when you do those offenses, that is a direct offense to the Supreme Lord. So the first one is blaspheming devotees, the most dangerous, right? Mad elephant offense. So offense to the holy name, offense to the Lord means you are committing offense on the spiritual platform, not on the material platform. So when you blaspheme a devotee, who is the devotee? The devotee is, he has surrendered his life to the Supreme Lord, to chanting the holy names of the Lord, and on top of that, to spreading the holy names of the Lord. And if you blaspheme such a devotee, the Lord takes it personally. He doesn't think that you're offending that devotee. This devotee is my person. When you offend him, actually that offense is to me. You're offending me. If you remember from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Minaketan Ramdas was a devotee of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's brother did not show proper respect to Minaketan Ramdas. Why? Because he didn't think Nityananda Prabhu was the Supreme Lord. He would worship Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Lord, but he didn't think about Nityananda Prabhu as the Supreme Lord. Because he didn't respect Nityananda Prabhu, therefore he didn't respect Nityananda Prabhu's servant. So this offense is to whom? Is it to the servant or to the Lord? This offense is to the Lord. This is directly offense to the Lord. That is why Minaketan Ramadas just left that place. Not because he offended me, but because this is not to me. This offense is to the Lord. So like that, when we blaspheme a Vaishnava, that means we are blaspheming the holy name. And if we blaspheme the holy name is so merciful. The Lord as the holy name is delivering us from all types of sins, all types of offenses also. And if we start blaspheming the holy name only, then where do we go? Like that. So therefore, offenses are very, very severe. About Jagai Madhai, it said they did all types of sins. They killed cows, they raped women, they burnt houses. There was no sin that they didn't commit. But they never blasphemed Vaishnavas. They never did any Vaishnava aparad. So because of that, they got the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. So that is the thing. So here, of course, that was a side point. It's not that this Brahmana is a Vaishnava, but still, if you come in contact with Nityananda Prabhu looks in one direction, that person goes into ecstasy. We saw that. So this person is going around with Nityananda Prabhu, but still he is not, means he must have, certainly he must have offenses. It's not just sins. Certainly, that's the only reason. When one has offenses, that's when even after coming into association of devotees, it's not acting on him, means he has offenses. He has offenses, and very heavy offenses. Most everyone has offenses, not necessary, but in general, everyone has offenses. That is why, otherwise, once chanting Hare Krishna, we should be from chanting, we should be directly going to prema. There's no in between stages. Directly you chant once and you go to prema, Krishna prema you'll be experiencing if you had no offenses. Now, every day we are chanting, still we are not getting that, means that itself shows that we have offenses. Then what is the way to mitigate these offenses, overcome these offenses? Sincerely chanting. That's because it's only the holy name can deliver us from the offenses. That is why 24/7 chanting, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, just chant. That's the only way. But to be able to chant feelingly, then, you have to understand properly, right? Now, there are other weeds that grow when you chant, pride and this and that, offenses. So that is why we have to hear Bhakti Shastras like nectar of devotion. Uh, that is the science of loving Krishna, nectar of devotion. So, how to avoid offenses like that. Okay. So, this Brahmana is going through such severe pain, and then in that, Nityananda Prabhu, and all the calamities suddenly stopped. At that time, uh, at that moment, the Brahmana became free of many millions of his past offenses. So the Lord can kick away any amount of offenses, right? He is all powerful. Nityananda Prabhu is the original guru. The spiritual master has a very, very special position. Um, by our chanting, of course, the offenses are going away, but there are some big. So if you see the chanting like a plant, sprouting and coming, in a field, the heart is a field. So in the field, you sow the seed of the holy name and of bhakti, and that is growing, and you're watering it with chanting. But then so many other weeds come up, and these weeds are taking up all the nourishment. So you have to be careful to uproot those weeds. But sometimes, even before the seed, when you sow it, for it to come out, or even it started growing, but then there's a big rock, you are not able to move that rock yourself. It's too heavy, right? It's not able to grow. The plant is choked. It's obstructed from growing because there's a big, heavy rock. What is that? Your offenses, like very severe, serious offenses which are choking. You're not able to move forward. What do you need at that time? The spiritual master is so powerful. He can just simply remove that obstacle so that you can grow. Your bhakti can grow properly. So this is the role of the spiritual master. Those tough obstacles which you are not able to overcome on your own by chanting, those are removed by the spiritual master. Who is the spiritual master? The original spiritual master is Lord Nityananda Prabhu. All other spiritual masters are his representatives. So in this case, this leader of all the thieves, by once taking shelter of the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu, he was able to overcome millions of offenses that were blocking him from taking to Krishna consciousness. The Brahmana prayed, save me, O Nityananda, O cowherd boy Krishna, O master, O protector of all living entities, please save me. A person who trips and falls to the ground takes shelter of the earth. In the same way, a person who commits offenses against you must meditate on you. Right? You fall on the earth and you take shelter on the earth only. So if you commit offenses against the Lord, so I just explained, any offense you do, any of the 10 offenses you do, these are offenses directly to the Lord. The holy name is the Lord. So in the same way, a person who commits offenses against you must meditate on you only. There's no other shelter. Only then can he be delivered from his suffering. You forgive all offenses. Nityananda Prabhu is extremely merciful. You forgive all offenses. You are merciful to the fallen. I have killed many brahmanas and many cows. Oh Lord, no one is a greater offender than I am. Still, even even the greatest sinners may find shelter in you and break into pieces the bonds that tie them to this world of birth and death. From the moment of birth, you protect the lives of the living entities, O Lord, and at the end of their lives, you protect them also. Yes, in the womb, the Lord is protecting. Who is protecting? The mother is protecting the baby in the womb. No. The Lord is protecting. And at the end of their lives also, it is the Lord who is protecting. Oh Lord, please protect me today from these dangers. If I remain alive, I don't think I will live after this. But if I remain alive, I will have learned my lesson. Birth after birth, I am your servant. Oh Lord, whether I live or die, I only wish to be your servant. See, it's not that please save me from this danger, let me live. No, it doesn't matter whether I live or die. I only wish, my desire is Anyabhilashita shunyam. I don't want liberation. I don't want to live to enjoy material opulence. I just want to be your servant. If I live or die, it does not matter. I only wish to be your servant. So see, now he's your devotee. Hearing these words, merciful Lord Nityananda delivered all the thieves. One thief is praying, he delivered all the thieves. In this way, the thieves became conscious again. Their eyes were suddenly released from blindness. By the power of the thieves surrendered to Lord Nityananda, the terrible rainstorm no longer fell. After some moments, the thieves again could see the path. They walked as if they were on the verge of death. They went to their homes and then bathed in the Ganga. So they didn't go right away inside the house. When they got there, you can imagine they were in these ditches and all that. So the storm also subsided. So they could see the path. They walked as if they were on the verge of death, right? You can imagine, like somehow they dragged themselves. And they went to their homes. Then they bathed in the Ganga. The commander of that little army of thieves wept and wept. In his heart, he took shelter of Lord Nityananda's feet. Meanwhile, Lord Nityananda, who is the master of all the worlds, sat down and placed his merciful glance on the fallen souls. In the four directions, the devotees sang the holy names of Lord Hari. Lord Nityananda, the jewel of Avadhutas, roared with bliss. At that moment, the Brahmana thief came, lifted his arms, called out, "Save me!" and offered Dandavat obeisances. From head to feet, the hairs of his body stood erect. Romanch. From him, on an unending stream of tears flowed. He trembled. Again and again, the Brahmana roared and thundered with ecstatic love. He was not in external consciousness. He wept. Gazing at Lord Nityananda's glory, the Brahmana joyfully danced. Save me, Father Nityananda, purifier of the fallen. The Brahmana roared, his arms raised. Seeing this, the devotees became filled with wonder. How did the thief become like this? One devotee said, "It is a trick. It is a sham. Any moment he will attack us." Another devotee said, "Lord Nityananda is the purifier of the fallen. By his mercy, this man has become good at heart." Seeing the endless symptoms of the Brahmana's devotional ecstasy, Lord Nityananda gently smiled and asked a question. The Lord said, "What has become of you, O Brahmana? Please tell me. I see that your activities have become wonderful. What have you seen? What have you heard of Lord Krishna's glories? Without worrying and without trickery, please tell everything." Hearing the Lord's words, the saintly Brahmana had no power to say anything. He only wept. He fell to the ground and rolled in the courtyard. Spontaneously, he laughed, wept, danced, and sang spontaneously. After some time, the Brahmana became peaceful. Then he said to Lord Nityananda, "Lord, my home is in Nadia. I'm a Brahmana in name only. My actions are those of a hunter or a Chandala. By always associating with wicked people, I became a violent thief. From the time of my birth, I have not been anything but that. When they see me, everyone in Navadvip trembles in fear. There is not a sin that does not rest in my body. When I saw your glistening ornaments, in my heart I decided to rob them. One night I came with my band of thieves to rob the treasures that decorate your graceful limbs. Lord, that night you bewildered us all. Bewildered by your Maya, I did not know who you are. Another night, after worshipping Goddess Durga in many ways and armed with swords, daggers, and tridents, we came again. Two more pages. We'll finish it today, tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday. We'll complete this chapter tomorrow. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, dear devotees. We will continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna.